our little boss, who tells us what to do all the time. So her words, as Congresswoman said, encompass this bill.
That's right.
We must make her dad have changed this world for all of us. Thank y'all.
Now you will hear from Antonio Romanucci, a great lawyer from Chicago, Illinois.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, but more importantly, I give my greatest thanks to you, Congresswoman Jackson Lee, and to you, Congressman Green. This is historic because if I had an opportunity, and there's no way that we're going to take the name George Floyd away from the bill, but this really is a common sense bill. It's a bill of common sense because when someone says they can't breathe, you should be able to ask the person who's listening to that statement, I can't breathe, do you believe him? George Floyd was not believed when he said he could not breathe, and he died as a result of that. He died as a result of a lack of officer discipline from the municipalities who have a custom, who have a custom, practice, and procedure to not discipline police officers, which allows them to act with impunity. This bill, make no mistake, will solve that problem. Qualified immunity is a get-out-of-jail-free card. That's what it does for police officers. It allows people who seek justice. The 7 that I wear on my lapel, this is for the 7th Amendment, the right to a civil jury trial. Qualified immunity is a way to strip away the 7th Amendment. And this George Floyd police reform bill will not allow to do that. We need the Senate so badly because we know that our president will sign this bill on the shoulders of these great congresspeople. And the leaders and the Speaker of the House, we thank you, we are grateful. I'd be happy to answer any questions after my colleague Justin Miller.
I guess the words of today, for me, just listening to everyone speak, are pain and change. And in this country, you don't get any change without the pain. And black people in this country have known this for a very, very long time. And I think that last year, with the killing of George Floyd, the rest of the country saw it and was woken up. Thank you, Congresswoman. Thank you, Congressman, for putting in the work that should have been done a long, long time ago. The pain that this young lady has to feel has nothing to do with how you may feel about what happened to her father. She's going to have to deal with this for the rest of her life. So she deserves change because this does not have to happen again. The pain that all of these family members behind you are feeling, they deserve change because this does not have to happen again. Policing should be fair, it should be equal, and it should not needlessly kill members of the community. And with this law, once it's passed by the Senate, it will go a long way to stopping that, as my colleague Tony just described to you. I'm going to finish with this. We're going to ask the Senate to do your job. Think about this young lady as you cast your ballot for this bill. The country has experienced pain. This community has experienced pain. This family has experienced pain. Let them experience some change. Let us know something good can come from something bad, because this never has to happen again. Thank you.
Right now, we're going to bring somebody who you all have heard of because he's been, I mean, incredible in demonstrating grace under fire. Y'all remember the first time Philonise did an interview? He could barely speak. He was crying so hard. Now listen to him today. I almost sound like a politician articulating why we have to have this change. So he's going to come up and speak before his brothers and sisters do so. And then we're going to try to take some of your questions, not only about this legislation, but also about the upcoming trial, as we also remember that next Saturday, this time, will be the 1-year anniversary that Breonna Taylor was killed. So there's a lot of meaning in today. Mr. Philonise Floyd.
Thank you.
We all know less than 24 hours I had to speak in Congress. That was June 10, 2020. My heart, it was heavy at the time. All I could think about was my brother and how Gianna said he was going to change the world. I think about my brother over and over again. I have no choice. You all have no choice. You see him every day on somebody's TV, somebody's t-shirt, and it's pain that we're feeling every day. Due to the accusations of a $20 bill, my brother was murdered by 4 police officers. David Chauvin had his knee on my brother's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. Nobody tried to render aid, none of the officers, but it was people protesting, and they stood up out there, please, somebody get out and save him. His life is valuable. My brother said, I can't breathe multiple times, but the officer sat on his neck with a smirk on his face. My brother screamed, tell my kids I love them, as his soul left his body. I can't stop thinking about that. My sister, she's crying back here when Congresswoman started talking. My brother, he was valuable. He was an asset to this family.
Yes, he was.
But for this world, he's changing it. He's a global asset now. He told me time and time, my name will ring bells all around the world. I never thought it would be just like this. I thought he would be somebody on a TV show or in a basketball game. I had no idea that I would have to watch my brother being buried in front of millions of people. It was devastating. I want to thank Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. I want to thank Congressman Al Green, and I want to thank my whole team, because without them, we wouldn't be standing here today. And that young lady who was 17 years of age who recorded that video, I thank you so much. The footage that she had, nobody would have believed it, but he showed up with that. When she showed up with that footage, she showed everybody that this is real and we need to handle it right now. So today I stand before you thankful that the George Floyd Justice and Police Act of 2020 has been passed. I have been chosen to turn my pain into purpose. That's why I started the George Floyd Foundation, but now I have the Philonise and Floyd Foundation. This is really, it's glorifying to me that we will have social change. I have a team of professionals around me, and we're working hard together to try to implement laws and work alongside police officers and elected officials, federal, and so on. Anybody that feels that they want to be involved in this situation, I thank you all for stepping up because we have protesters all around the world who is willing to walk the street in a pandemic and COVID is killing people, but they all said the same thing. I can't breathe. That is a national statement. You can't take it away. I can't get my brother back. It'll never be the same. I go to sleep sometimes. Sometimes I'm up in the middle of the night wondering why my brother had to be that person. But as I visually look out and see what's going on, I understand we needed change. But it's the pain that I feel and my family feels every day. There's no more Thanksgiving with him. No more Christmases with him. We'll never have holidays with him again. So it's important that you all, everybody who's watching this, understand that we will have change. You just have to be the change, and you have to force it and make the change. So I thank you all so much for listening to me today. And before I leave this podium, I want you all to know, if you can change laws to protect the bird, you can make federal laws to protect people of color. Thank you all so much.
I won't stand for anyone suggesting this family is promoting hate and dissension among police and community. Simply will not tolerate it. And to add to not only the pain but the understanding, I'm going to bring up who I asked before to come forward, and that is Tanya, who is the big sis, little sis, kind of fits in, but she and George were so close together. Thank you for your spirit, dear. And let me put this aside. We're going to be going back over to CUNY Homes, we've got a whole bunch of folk, I believe, over there. We're going to his home. We're going to his place, if you will, in just a few minutes when we finish here. Thank you very much. Tanya Floyd.
How are y'all doing? The first time I say this is got to be one of the greatest days of my life. You know, this is awesome. And when I say this, I speak for my sister, our sister, brother Terrence and Bridget Floyd, who couldn't be here today. That's why I didn't say that. And Shasha, of course. That's the big sister. This is incredible, and I know he's smiling down on us. I know he's smiling. I know he's so happy.
That's all right, you'll be fine.
Okay, I'm gonna make this real short.
No, that's all right.
I just want to say I love you. And this will embody my brother's spirit. I thank all of you, everybody. I love you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's all right. Brother Rodney Floyd. All right.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
You know, our brother's tragic, horrific, horrible death. It took the world to stand still through COVID to witness what we see as minorities in this country. For 400 years, it took the world to stand still to see our brother and Gigi's father to lie on that ground for 8 minutes and 46 seconds and just beg an officer for a breath of air, to beg him for his life. But it wasn't one officer. The angles we saw one officer. But at the other angles that came later in days, we saw 3 other officers on him. Feet, back thigh, the back, and the other officer's knee on his neck. And that was so horrible and tragic, hearing the man beg. And I got that video at 4 in the morning, and I stayed up wondering how I'm gonna tell my family, how I'm gonna tell them what I just witnessed from one of our brother's friends who sent me the video. And I was getting ready, dressed up, getting ready to go to work at 4 in the morning.
And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't move. I stared at my phone, stared at the video, called the young lady back and said, this is my brother after probably 10 seconds of watching the video. And she's like, are you sure? I said, I know my brother's face, I know his voice. That video was so painful, it's just stuck in my head. Plenty of nights, don't sleep. It's, you know, it just hearing him. But the world stood still and saw this justice that we've been seeking, trying to tell the world about for 40 years. So, with this George Floyd Act, I would love to thank Ms. Congresswoman, Ms. Sheila Jackson Lee. This lady is dedicated. She calls us, speaks to us, gives advice, and God came with a great group of friends as well. And I would like to thank the NAACP, the Houston Black Caucus, National Caucus, as well, them ladies, and there's so many countless others that have been so supportive in this situation, as well as our lawyer, Ben Crump, and his team, everybody, Mr. Al Green, the same. It's been so much love and support from our Houston representatives, and we thank you guys for all the love, and also all the people his death has touched around the world, people, everywhere we go. All the people that's watching this, thank y'all, we love y'all, the support that we get, the encouragement, and trust me, I love y'all, thank y'all, and y'all marching in the middle of this COVID pandemic for our brothers, for his rights and our rights as well, and we must get this qualified immunity in that, and we're not saying that's going to deform police, but it's going to bring some justice for us. It makes them be aware and sensitive and what's going on and what they are doing. You know, and again, we got invited to Congress, and we saw our councilmen and women hard work. And you know, again, we sat in that room and saw them fighting, and I wish that everyone could have a chance to go see that, people, because they stayed in that room till midnight, fighting for our rights. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
I gave it too soon. I'll just hold it out. Brandon Williams is the nephew, but as they say, not any old ordinary nephew, really infused with Big George's spirit. He poured it into Brandon, and he is with the family every step of the way. Brandon Williams.
Thank you, Congresswoman. From the bottom of our heart, we appreciate everything you do, the relentless work, all the hard work you put in, we appreciate it. I won't be long. I want to start with the word accountability. I think the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act definitely holds police officers accountable. I think when you look at my uncle's murder, a police officer kneeling on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds, we have to hold him accountable. Either he's a murderer or he's not qualified to do his job correctly. Either way, someone needs to be held accountable. There's no way police officer get a call about an alleged counterfeit $20 bill.
Yes.
And a man, a loved one of ours, is murdered for $20 US. Someone needs to be held accountable. Did not resist arrest. Repeatedly said that he couldn't breathe, and no one rendered aid. So again, either the police officer is a murderer or he's not qualified to do his job. Either way, we want accountability. And I think this act holds people accountable. It bans no-knock warrants. I think that's a step forward to making sure there's never another Breonna Taylor who died in the comfort of her home because of a no-knock warrant. If you sit and count all of the families that's lost loved ones that were unarmed at the hands of police, I'll probably be naming all day. It's no way the list should be that long. There's no way families should feel the pain that we feel, because there's a lot of sleepless nights. So in ending, please pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Thank you.
As has been said, the trial begins this coming Monday in terms of the jury selection. All eyes will be focused on Minneapolis. And as I open it up for questions for lawyers and others, let me just simply say, I hope the people of Minneapolis and the state of Minnesota, let me again acknowledge Ilhan Omar and the other elected officials that have been so supportive in that state, senators and the members of Congress and others, and of course the state attorney general, who has proceeded with the appropriate guidelines of the law, Attorney General Ellison. Let me ask the people of this great state, part of the United States of America, to remain open to the facts. Let them be purveyors of justice. And let them not be couched in negativity, wrong information, and disinformation. That is my prayer. That's what we in Houston will be praying in the hometown of George Floyd. We'll take your questions right now. Yes. We'll take questions.
This question's for PJ or someone else on the family. How are you guys, while you walk forward, how are you preparing to deal with this next chapter, having to live through a trial that obviously will have all eyes on it?
Yes, sir. When we prepare, we can try to be prepared mentally, but honestly, it's one day at a time. And I mean, we stand together as a strong family unit, and got a great bunch of great people around us, and just one step, one day at a time.
Yes, we talked about it, we prayed about it. We're going to keep faith. We're optimistic about what's going to happen because we have a great team behind us. We feel that we will get a conviction and we will get justice.
And when it comes to that, the message has always been peace and civility when it comes to dealing with this. Obviously, there are two sides to a verdict. If it doesn't go your way, what's your message to the community as to how they should react if it doesn't go your way?
We're not considering that right now, but what I can tell you, we'll keep fighting for justice, not just for my brother, for anybody else who has to go through this. It shouldn't be any more tragedies. This should be the last one. But I thought after my brother was taken, it wouldn't be any more of this, but it's not changing. So I want to thank everybody, like I said once before, for this George Floyd Policing Act. This is helping.
And speaking of this act, is this the first step in hopefully changing the world, as Gianna has mentioned, or Daddy's been changing the world? Is this the first step, and hopefully the Senate and the President will sign the bill?
This is the first step of 2021. Well, like I was telling you over and over again, we're going to keep fighting. There's people around the world, they're doing the same thing. We're all pulling together with stronger in numbers. This is a global thing. It's not just us. We're going to do what we have to do. We're going to put in the work.
Who's talking?
No, I think that's the next question. Any more questions?
Are you going to make other press conferences next week?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to do other press conferences next week?
Well, a lot of the family is going to go to the trial once it starts on May 29th. A few family members are going to jury selection, but they know it's going to be a long trial. They anticipate it may be 4 to 8 weeks. So they're just trying, as they said, to get ready for this marathon trial. And, you know, talking with my colleagues, Congressman Green and Congressman Jackson Lee, we are reminded, I remember in law school they said, if you don't have the facts on your side, if you have the facts on your side, argue the facts. If you don't have the facts on your side, attack the character of the other party. We anticipate they're going to try to do this to distract us from what we see on the video. They're going to call George everything but a child of God. and try to make you forget what you see on that video. But you heard who George Floyd was. And so we're getting ready for whatever and whensoever may come. We will be ready.
I love it. Whatever and whensoever will come. Right. And if we, yeah.
Well, press conference is here? Probably not. The family is going to be preparing to go through that ordeal. I know they're contemplating if the time is right and attorneys feel appropriate. The people in Minneapolis want the family to come up to a rally with Reverend Al Sharpton. Any other questions?
Questions?
You want to talk about Cooney Holmes?
Yeah. I tell you, Gianna sure looks good standing for that tall man. We're not finished yet. I know you all have some mobility, but we're going over to the homestead, if you will, the CUNY Homes. There are people waiting for us there. We're going to speak from the heart. We're going to have, if you will, a rally to the extent that we're dealing with the CUNY Home residents. But what we want to say now, you have heard from a myriad of individuals whose hands have been in this. I think when you heard from these brothers and sisters, and Jaja is not here, we've got some others that are not here, you have heard from those who have had pain since that fateful day in May. That's a lot of pain. Sometimes you bury someone and that pain eases only because they died in a way that you said they fulfilled their life. These family members who are not selfish enough not to acknowledge other family members have not had that, for lack of a better word, luxury. Breonna Taylor's family has not had that luxury. I imagine Tamir Rice's mom and family have not. And we could go on, and I'm glad that you mentioned the way that Pamela Turner was killed on her back. So what threat was she? Well, Laquan Daniels, who was running away at 16 years old. So, I mean, the role goes, and then I remember I met, all of these mothers were called mothers of the movement. I met Michael Brown's mother. And I just called him a bouncing baby boy. He was a big boy. And I'm a mother, and I talk about boys like that and sons. He was a big boy going to play football at college. He was on his way to going to college. So as we end this press conference, we want to be reminded of all the people who are still feeling lost. I want to say thank you to all of the witnesses that were out in the street with videos that got videos of I think there's a video of Laquan. There's videos of different places. I think I saw Walter Scott running. I think there's a video with Walter Scott. Trayvon, unfortunately, was in the dark of night, but the story was, without question, one of the vilest stories that we've ever seen. I think Ben and I were down in Florida, among others. So I want to thank these witnesses. I want to thank these just man or woman on the street. I want to thank the 17-year-old in Minneapolis that Brother Crump mentioned. We need to say that that's the video that we saw.
Hero. She's a hero.
She is a hero, she's a shero, and the pressure will be on her as they go back to Minneapolis. She is probably, was at 7 when Gianna was, bright and with the world in front of her.
And she'll be called to testify.
And she will be a witness. I want to thank all of these persons. And then I want to just let you see the international impact. New Zealand. These are the crowds. They were in Syria. They were in Egypt. They were on the continent of Africa. And that's where we're going. We're going to George's home. That mural is right here in 3rd Ward near CUNY Homes. And I use that on the floor of the House. And I ended on that because that's the angel that George Floyd has become. So let me thank my colleague, Congressman Green, for his potent message, past president of the NAACP. And let me thank those who have flown in. And now we will take this opportunity to go to Truxillo. I'm going to really hand out the address before I say amen, because I really I want you to see. I think they've even spruced it up for you all to be able to enjoy. The address is housing 3260 Truxillo. 3260 Truxillo. That's Truxillo Street, Houston, Texas 77004. Again, 3260 Truxillo Street, Houston, Texas 77004. In the last month, we have had the birthday of the assassination of Malcolm X, rather. We have had the passage of this bill. We have coming up the commemoration of the transatlantic slave trade. All of this is surrounding us. And the only thing I can say is what I hope America will take from this is nothing but goodness. That's what we saw here today. Goodness, change, power of the change, and a new day in America where we walk hand in hand together, members of a unity, United States of America, and that we put behind us what we have seen and January 6th, the attack on the citadel of democracy. America needs to go forward, and this trial will give us the opportunity to do that. Thank you all very much. Now God bless all of you, and God bless the United States of America. Okay. Is anybody over there? Did you see anybody?
Where exactly? Is it at the
Basketball court. Okay. It'll be at the basketball court. If anybody has to leave, it will be at the basketball court. Basketball court. Pardon me? Okay. Thank you. And I need to get I'm trying to find do you have someone over there? I'm going to look now. So you didn't put another staff there?
No. Gary's out.